Okay, it is now 6 o'clock on the nose. I'm calling the meeting to order for the January 20th Redevelopment Commission meeting. So if staff will please take the roll call.
Peter Shaka,
Present?
Brian Hamilton,
Present.
Bo Bigelow,
Present.
Casey Kendall.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. So at this time, members of the public may comment on matters not on the agenda. The commission's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Do we have any requests for communications from citizens?
Mr. Chairman, I do not have any requests from citizens in person, but we can certainly open up the public line. So Jocelyn, will you please now unmute the public line? And to the public, please state your name if you wish to speak on any item not on the agenda. Okay, does anyone have any items they would like to speak to that are not on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, hearing none, we will mute the public line.
Thank you. So at this time, it's time for our administrative items. We go into item number 1, and that is to consider the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held on November 18th, 2020. Are there any edits the commission wishes to make?
No.
Hearing none, do I have a motion for the Redevelopment Commission meeting minutes, approval for the minutes for November 18th, 2020?
Sure, I'll move to approve the redevelopment commission meeting minutes for the meeting of November. I apologize over the date, 18th.
Great, so we have a first by Vice Chair Hamilton. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Perfect, we have a second. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed?
Aye.
If anyone's opposed, say nay. The motion carries forward. So now we move into the public hearing part of our meeting. Items will be heard at one public hearing, at which time anyone wishing to comment on a public hearing item may do so. Comments will be heard from those in support or in opposition to an item. In order to comment on a public hearing item, you must fill out a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to be heard. Once the hearing is closed, there will be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the commission. After the public hearing, the commission may act on all items not requiring additional staff, public, or commission comment with one single vote. Staff, will you please come forward for item 2, Z19-01 Heritage District Design Guidelines. At this time, it is open as a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Amanda Elliott. I serve as the Redevelopment Program Manager in the Office of Economic Development. And I am here to talk to you about Z1901, the Heritage District Design Guidelines. I'm going to provide a quick overview of some of the items you've heard, but just for the general public who may not know much about the design guidelines, I wanted to provide a little background. So the design guidelines are recommendations towards good practice in design. They're really meant to provide inspiration for developers and residents to articulate the design within our downtown. There are a set of design guidelines currently in place. They were created in 2010, and they've provided an exceptional foundation for the built environment that you see today in the Heritage District. But the need for the new Heritage District design guidelines comes from the 2018 redevelopment plan that was adopted by Council. Through that plan, we had extensive public outreach, approximately 5 years of public outreach. All of that outreach was cataloged in the appendices of the redevelopment plan. As we began the design guidelines process, we had a stakeholder group comprised of residents, developers, council, redevelopment commissions, business and property owners, and tenants. We also had a technical committee comprised of Gilbert Town staff from each department. A set of goals was set forth that the 2018, in 2018, excuse me, a set of goals was created for these design guidelines. The goals were that the design guidelines would be comprehensive, solve challenges faced by all departments, be easy to navigate, utilize more imagery to demonstrate what we're trying to achieve, and be future focused. And so from February 2019 to April 2020, staff worked with a consultant to take the input that was received from the redevelopment plan, from the steering committee, from the technical committee, and what we learned from our previous design guidelines to change it to what you see on the bottom of the slide. As you can see, it's certainly more image-based and less text-laden. Once we had a draft ready to review, we've brought that to the Redevelopment Commission. You've now had a study session twice. We opened the draft to the public. We also met with the Planning Commission on January 6th to provide them with a draft of the design guidelines. So that the public was informed at all times, we created a website landing page. We had a video that walked the public through all of the design guidelines page by page. And we created a workbook where the public's comments could be responded to by staff, clarification to the response could be given, and each member of the public who submitted comments then received the public workbook. It was also located on that website landing page for the public to see. Staff responded to the design guidelines, open public comment period with 89 accepted, 162 declined, which is, it's important to note that decline was also used when a text edit did not need to, when it did not require a direct text edit, but was more of a question. 24 comments that were not applicable to the design guidelines, 31 that we consolidated and brought back to you all in study session, and then 12 that were as part of the staff discussion. So to provide a quick overview of the components of the design guidelines, it is broken up into 5 sections: introduction, blend, congregate, dwell, and create. Each of the sections include a description, a map, imaging and visioning, a cross-section of the streets, and based on the input received from the public and some of the staff conversations from said input, the staff related the street sections back to the redevelopment plan as opposed to directly including the street section cross-section widths. So you'll note that now this refers to the redevelopment plan in the same way that it's listed there. You can see on the cross-section, then you can see what street types each of those lanes or curbs refer to. So the blend section is the street section. It's intended to provide a unified feel of the Heritage District while also celebrating the uniqueness of each area. There were no changes made in the last round that you had seen to today in Historic Connect, Active, or Festival. We also did not make any changes to Local or Flex Alley. However, in the local alley, it was noted by public comment that there were trash cans, trash receptacles for those walking in the area, and lighting. And that was certainly a public comment that we took to heart and removed both the trash cans and lighting. The congregate section focuses on the public spaces throughout the Heritage District, which are critical to the ecosystem and livelihood of the overall downtown. We did not make any changes to water tower, to living room, commons, or veterans. And as you may remember, we had some discussions around Veterans Park, but based on Redevelopment Commission's input, we continued to include the triangular building closest to Gilbert Road. However, based on your input, we did add Page Park. We removed the dog run from Legacy Park. And in our design guidelines, we now note that the Paseo cross sections vary in the different areas of the Heritage District. Dwell focuses on the diverse neighborhoods that make up the Heritage District. The changes from the last version of the design guidelines include updating the dwell map. We removed the bungalow homes that are in HVC zoning along Gilbert Road. And we also removed the northwest corner of Gilbert and Elliott so that Lacey Tract is truly reflective of the single-family zoning. With the Lacey Tract, we noted that so in our discussion, we had talked about the various architectural styles of Lacey Tract. We noted that other architectural styles not listed may be approved by the Redevelopment Commission. And we also updated text regarding the lot combination. And for the purpose of this evening, we're looking to you for input on our text edit. So the previous text in Lacey Tract, the single-family area that is the more historical neighborhood, stated that lots shall not be combined. The purpose of this really is that the general plan allows for 5 to 8 dwelling units per acre, but staff felt that we should amend the text to state lots shall not be combined to greater than 6,999 square feet. What this does is it allows homeowners who have parcels. So if you look on the map, Page Avenue is just south of the blue triangular piece. That's Veterans Park. So the yellow is the SF6 zoning that encompasses the Lacey Tract neighborhood. As you see on Park Avenue, closest to the Heritage Village Center zoning, you'll note that there are some smaller parcels. You'll also notice the further west you go that the parcels have been combined. We felt that it was appropriate to allow for individuals to combine their lots, but to ensure that they needed to meet the general plan density. If we allowed for larger lot combinations, that would then lower the density, whereas we're trying to encourage density within the Heritage District. So I'd love to, at this point, just open it up, Mr. Chairman, to you and the commissioners to see if you have any overall thoughts or gut reactions to the text amendment to lot combinations.
I'll open it up to the other commissioners. I just had one question regarding the size. A lot of lots, like an average size, seems to be like 7,500 square feet. What's the average size of lots in this area?
I'm going to defer to Amy Thames, who's on the line, and see if she can assist us in the average size of the lots. I know that we looked at the different lot sizes. Amy, are you?
Hi, Commissioners, Amy Thames, Planning Department. Good evening. I'm going to have to do a little research while you all talk to look up the average size of the lots. Off the top of my head, I want to say they're 6,000 and 3,000, but I'm going to double check that for you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we can always circle back. Amy, if you just want to let us know once you have kind of the average there. So I'll move forward and we'll come back to this item. One of the questions that was received from the public was what happens when I come in for a custom home remodel and I go through the building process as I normally would? What happens if I need to go back to Redevelopment Commission because I no longer meet the standards set in the design guideline? So the directors of Economic Development and Planning, the Building and Plan Review Manager, and staff from Economic Development and Planning met to discuss the process for this custom home remodel in relation to the design guidelines. So essentially, the resident would submit their documents to building as they have in the past. Building would review their documents to ensure that they're meeting design guidelines. In the case where there's a deviation from materials or architectural styles that do not meet the design guidelines, the applicant can therefore seek approval from the RC for an exception. So once they request it, they would then be brought into a minor DR review with planning. Planning staff would bring it forward to Redevelopment Commission. Redevelopment Commission makes their decision, and it immediately goes back to building. They would not need to resubmit their drawings once the RC has made their decision. We put in here that it's approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Certainly, we hope that we can process those quicker, but this is our conservative time frame for processing an RC review on a custom or home remodel. And then lastly, the item that we updated in the create section. So this is essentially our appendices. We removed signage as it's already included in the land development code. And we had polled the redevelopment commission to ask, should we include the heritage district landscape character? And it was a 50-50 split. So we included it, but none of the terminology in the landscape character states shall. It's really meant to be inspirational. So we felt like this plant palette could easily allow those who are looking for inspiration with that landscape character could quickly and easily find it here. So, Amy, I'm going to turn it back to you if you are available.
Good evening once again. I did get the numbers for you. The little lots over on page are approximately 3,200 feet, so the really long skinny ones. And then I looked at a standard lot just on one of the other streets, and they were running around 7,500, between 6,000 and 7,500 depending on the lot. And that's based off the plat.
Thank you. So it seems to be a size like 50 by 150 seems to be a 7,500 square foot lot. Is there a reason why we didn't choose that number, 7,500 versus 6,999, or why that number is here? And the question is, just with look and feel and redevelopment, setbacks is 7,500 a better number? And maybe it's not. I just was wondering if there's a reason for this.
Well, and Mr. Chairman and members of the Redevelopment Commission, I'm going to be honest here and say that the 6,900 is, 6,999 is giving a little latitude because really SF6, the description of that zoning category is 6,000 square feet maximum. Lacey Tract and some of the Heritage District areas are a little bit different, and so we were giving a little latitude with allowing a little more considering the lot sizes, which we did research at the time. If I was to do the strict application of the code, I would say 6,000 is the max, end of conversation. So just trying to give a little latitude with some of the lots that are a little bigger, but if I was to make an absolute, I would actually prefer 6,000, but 6,999 would give a little more latitude for some of the little bit larger lots, or if they were to combine one of the larger lots with one of the smaller lots, but trying to avoid really large lots that are inconsistent with the plat and inconsistent with the general plan.
Thank you. I think the 6,999 works if two lots that are 3,200 are combined, that's 6,400. Or, I don't know what all the combinations could be, but it might be a workable number. So that's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, are there any other thoughts on the lot combination?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any questions.
And Commissioner Bigelow, did you have any comments or questions? You actually, your insight here is actually very valuable because you do redevelopment in the area. So I just felt like, did you have any comments here? If not, then we'll move forward.
I'm thinking about it, and no, I think what Amanda said and the way she wants to put it is exactly what it should be. There is a lot of disproportions and a lot of odd, shaped lots down here, but I think that's perfect, just what she said.
Thank you.
Great. Well, at this time, Mr. Chairman, our next steps, our hope is to bring it to Planning Commission in February and potentially Town Council on March 2nd. But I'd like to open this up at this point to have any conversations, any further thoughts, items we should be considering or including before you have an action or take action.
It's safe to assume that if people did combine lots, they would have to go to the county as well, right? And make some kind of application for a minor land division, right? It's not, and it's okay if you don't know the answer. I'm assuming it's also done through the county, through the assessor's office.
Amy,
Amanda, I can address that. Hi,
Thank
this is
you.
Amy Thames again. Mr. Chairman and members of Redevelopment Commission, actually those kind of combinations or splits occur within the town of Gilbert. They go to our engineering department in order to be properly addressed and to be compared to our various codes.
So are there any comments or questions from the commissioners so far?
Mr. Chair, I don't.
Are those lots vacant?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Kendall, no, they all have homes on them for the most part. There may be a couple in here that, for example, there's one on the corner of Washington and Ash that no longer has a home on it, but predominantly they have homes there. So the idea would be that if an individual wanted to combine their lot, demolish the home, and build anew to these standards, they would be able to do so.
And I don't want to get into the nuances of it, but there possibly could be 2 water meters or 2 gas meters, 2 electric meters if someone were to do something like this. I think it's great, but I mean, that fits within the guidelines, right? They want to have, so that just want to make, it's a point of clarification.
Amanda, if I may, it's Amy once again. A single family lot can only have a single meter. If you have 2 meters, it makes you a duplex. So even if they were to put 3 little lots together or 2 little lots together, first of all, they would have to do a lot combination because you cannot build a structure on top of a lot line. And there are several homes in this downtown area that do have homes built on top of lot lines. They're given a little latitude with this because they're very old homes that have been there a very long time. And back in the day, maybe the rules were slightly different or things happened. But if someone was to come in and build a new home on one of these lots or to redevelop one of these lots, they would need to properly combine the lot, remove the lot line from the center of the house that it's sitting in, and I'm looking at a couple right here on the screen, and they would have to go through the proper permitting process for that. But 1 meter is what you get.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments, concerns? From this point, Amanda, should we open it up to anyone online? So if there are any members of the public that wants to speak on this item? There's none here in the room, so I guess we're going online to see if there's anybody online
Jocelyn, can we unmute? Oh, is the line already muted? Okay, if there's anyone on the line who would like to speak about the design guidelines in the presentation, please state your name. Mr. Chairman, I do not hear any public comments at this time.
So with that, it's safe to assume that the commissioners, if there's anything else the commissioners want to add, it's time to do so. Usually we do this after public comment. There's none, but if you had any afterthoughts, I'll take those now. And staff, are there any comments from staff regarding this item?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So with that, with no other comments, then I will entertain a motion. So to have a motion for,
Mr. Chair, I'll move to recommend adoption to the Planning Commission for Z19-01 Heritage District Design Guidelines.
perfect. We have a motion from Vice Chair Hamilton. Do I have a second?
I didn't hear that. Can you repeat it?
I'll second that motion. This is Bo Bigelow.
Just for clarification, we wanted Vice Chair Hamilton, if you could repeat your motion, please. Thank you.
Sure, I'll move to, is the audio okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move to recommend adoption to the Planning Commission of Z19-01 Heritage District Design Guidelines.
And perfect. And with that, we did have a second from Commissioner Bigelow. So with that, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? So with that, the motion does carry forward.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. So with that, I don't have anything to report on current or future events. And then is our council liaison, Council Member Tilkey, on the line?
Yes, here I am. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I just want to say Happy New Year and give just a couple of updates, if that's all right. Last week, Mayor Bridget Peterson was sworn in along with Scott Anderson and myself. And so I just want to report that we do have our public safety training facility should be opening within the next month or so, and so we'll be getting more details about that, but we're excited to have our training facility up and running and people moved in. Dan, I'm going to do some of these numbers from the top of my head, so if I misspoke, please correct me, but round 2 of our AC Cares Act dollar for grants for businesses will be opening soon. Round 1 resulted in more than $4 million worth of grants for small businesses who had more than 2,800, almost 2,900 employees that were impacted. And I believe that number was 234 that were actual number of businesses that received grants. So we are still working very hard, and I want to thank our Economic Development Department and the Chamber of Commerce for all of the work that they're doing to assist small businesses. You may not have heard yet that unfortunately our newly appointed commissioner for the Redevelopment Commission, Maisha, has had to resign, and we are hoping to have a new commissioner appointed February 2nd. So you will be hearing more on that, and we're excited to get your group together and get you fully staffed and for your commission. Lastly, I just want to congratulate the Redevelopment Commission and our Economic Development Department, and Amanda, especially you, for leading this effort on the design guidelines. It's been a long haul, and I appreciate all the extra effort that was put into the public stakeholders being able to participate, and then also for the commission members for all of their support and also their input to make sure that we have guidelines in place that will help us develop downtown. And with that, that's all I have for my report today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilmember Tilkey. With that, are there any reports on current and future events from other commissioners?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
So hearing none, I will look for a report from our staff liaison.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have any updates at this time. Thank you.
So with that, I will I will adjourn the regular meeting, 6:28 p.m. Thank you for your time, everyone.